Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans, and welcome to another match in the spring tournament. Tonight we've got Ganon's Gone Wild going up against DemonRHK, winner of whom will be going up against the winner of the match between Dead Pulse and Zenobian. So tonight we have Lord of the Synth as our restreamer and tracker. Thank you for pulling double duty. And I am joined in the booth by Snow.
Hi guys, how's it going? I'm looking forward to this match pretty much all day. I think it'll be a really good one.
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup, and we're seeing a standard draft tonight. We walked in with an opening pick of the black belt, as I recall. That was from Ganon, and then White Mage Thief from Demon, and Red Mage for the final pick from Ganon. What do you think about that party?
As people will probably figure out shortly, I'm fairly new to the whole scene, but it feels like a relatively well-balanced party. Maybe a little lacking in early game if they don't find a good sweeper. Might make the early game a little tough, but other than that, it can definitely coast through the mid and end game.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I'm curious to see how long the Thief stays upright. A lot of the time when we see these black belt focused melee carries, we see those thieves go down, pretty quick, and
Absolutely.
our runners are off.
All right, let's see what we got in black.
Warp. We have warp.
There are definitely worse spells to be put in that spot, for sure.
It's okay because the white magic is nothing to write home
Worse.
about either.
Yeah.
So, it's time to look for what can we put on the thief to swing. And the answer is a scimitar +2. It's not a bad option. Also the red mage.
Honestly, I would even consider buying that wood -1. Nothing too great, but early on, every little bit helps. No tents to start, so hopefully they find some save items. Oof.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough start. I think we're going to see some Whack-a-Imp outside of Corneria for a while before making the grand journey. But,
Yep.
Ganon's Gone Wild going straight up.
He's risking it for the biscuit.
Not even checking the 3 greed chests.
Interesting decision. Demon is going for imps, it looks like, so pretty expected there.
One of the nice things that we're seeing here, and Ganon takes down Garland right away. We're seeing a plus 80 hit points blessing on the black belt. Really gives us that frontline tank that we probably want. And starting off with a key very early.
It's definitely a nice blessing. Every time I've used a monk, the biggest problem I've encountered is just how frail they are early on. So it's nice to give them a little extra bulk.
Absolutely.
But let's see what's in Corneria. Maybe we'll get
So
a nice little monster in a box.
Ganon making that great play to save before going and checking these, because these monster in a boxes for the bracket flags can be very dangerous. And a gold +2 right out the gate.
That's big.
Interestingly, choosing to put it on the thief. I believe that the red mage rolled no bracelets, so the thief being the only damage dealer that can wear that right now.
Right. It definitely a good call by him. I also enjoy the French vanilla loot. At least they know where it is. No bonking off the tablet there. And it looks like they're just gonna cover each other's ground.
Well, there's not a whole lot of other ground to cover just yet, and that's kind of the challenge. Is especially with how expensive the houses were. This is really a hero run to get all the way to Elfland, which is our next available town. Because we're in the bracket 64-32 flags, there's no bridge to start out. You'd have to get it from one of the early boxes. That makes, this is a hero run. This is real dangerous.
Oh yeah. I mean, at least on the plus side, he has the key when he comes to dwarfs, so he can check these chests. The bridge is loose, so...
So, here's the thing about that is you could see some very nasty encounters coming out of these boxes, and so far, we're seeing so much gold.
I mean, it's good that they're finding the gold early, though, since they have to go to Elfland and hopefully find a sweeper.
I did see, looked like a Vorpal +1 coming out of one of those boxes as well, which is, if you're going to promote, which is a really big if with the black belt, the thief is going to have something to do in the end game, and that's great to see. Anything that makes a thief live to the end of a seed is something that I am very happy to see.
Right. It definitely brings the question, will they actually kill their thief in that case, since they have the endgame weapon for it?
Yeah. Jargony's asking in chat, no Temple of Fiends chests, and the challenge with the Temple of Fiends chest is with such a volatile start, only having your scimitar +2 to engage things, no spells of note. It's really hard to justify walking through there, especially since there are no save items around. So, getting to the chest, surviving any monster in the boxes, and getting out with the loot can be pretty challenging for those chests. Ganonsgonewild headed straight in to turn in the herb, which was from the king. And we get a ruby. No fun percent out of Ganonsgonewild tonight.
Nope.
And here's our first look at level 3 magic.
I mean, more utility spells. Can't say no to them, but sure wish they were...
There's Fade, learnable for both the White Mage and the Red Mage. Cure 4 locked to the White Mage, however. Level 3 fast. Level 3 fast and Lock 2, I think, are going to be the sort of obvious pickups for your other slots on that Red Mage. Yep. So, it's nice to finally have a sweeper.
Right.
Cheap pro rings. Wow. Pro ring +3.
Do they have the levels to cast Fade at this point?
Probably not.
I think he's still a couple levels short.
Yeah. Demon getting the bridge boss here, walking out from Dwarf Cave. So, not that far behind.
I didn't notice, but did he check the Dwarven Armory?
I missed it as well while looking at the spells, so... I would assume with how much time it's taken him to get to where he is, that yes, he most likely checked the armory.
Yeah, if he did, he'll be in a pretty good spot to pick up Fade and all those other spells. And we found the vendor item in the TNT. A little pricey.
Yeah. A little bit outside of the price range right now, but, good knowledge nonetheless.
Yeah, they're probably headed over to Crescent anyway, so they can just pick it up on their return trip to hopefully find the ship and turn it in.
Maverick Kanissa telling us in chat that yes, Demon did check the armory. Lemon Kitsune asking why Ganon didn't buy pro rings. I'm going to guess it's just lack of gold at the moment. There are a lot of priorities when you come into Elfland. It's a very spendy town. It's very easy to spend a lot of time doing your shopping here. And
yeah, he also hadn't checked level 4 magic yet at the time. So I'm sure he wanted to take a look and see if there was anything he wanted in there, because it might be a little bit before he comes back to Elfland.
Demon selling off some of that equipment to pick up the TNT as well.
I wonder if he'll go straight up to turn it in. I mean, probably not. It's almost certainly better to check the Sage's item, right?
Well, here's your challenge with that is you're going to have easier encounters going back to the TNT than you are going to the river system. And without the fade charges, I get a little leery here. But Ganon's Gone Wild has made the journey, not without casualties.
Fortunately, it was both the Fade casters, although, once again, pretty sure they can't cast it yet.
That's kind of the problem, is that Ganon's White Mage and Red Mage, I think, were level 2 coming out of all that.
Really seeing the advantages of that early imp fight that Demon took, giving him just a couple of extra levels. Because I'm almost certain that he has at least one charge on his White Mage. Which will definitely help speed him up on his journey up to Provoca, because I'm sure that's where the runners are headed next.
Yep, and we get the Oxyale out of the Sages, so we still don't have anything new in the way of mobility. Looking more and more like... we know that at least... one of Eystermarsh is very likely required at this point, unless the ship and the canal come out of Bicky and the TNT.
Right. Or the floater.
Or the floater. Well, yes, and if that's the case, then, very unlikely that the Ice and Marsh will be required.
I mean... I'm hoping for an ice play. I almost always end up doing it myself, so I love seeing other people have to go through the struggle I go through. But we're gonna find out.
So Demon has made the trip all the way up to Provoca. Ganon's Gone Wild having a little bit of problems with some Hydras there, but that is a Volcano play. Gonna go check the armory.
Okay, I like this. You save outside, and if you don't find anything useful, just reset. Check a couple spike tiles while you're at it.
Yep. Lit 2 and Temper, notable spells in level 2 magic. Not great in this composition, but, having Lit 2 is at least something to do. And kind of can close the gap. If you didn't have the Fade charges yet, that's going to be a good way to get those.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he does, because he ended up just swinging with the... that or he wants to conserve a charge, but he just swung with the White Mage.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had the charges yet, just hitting level 4 off of the Pirates there.
Yeah.
Bicky giving us the ship tonight, so we finally have a little bit of inner sea mobility.
Definitely speed up the trip back to Elfland.
Gold plus 2 for sale. Alright. The silver plus 1 is not bad either.
Yeah, it's definitely a good, just because of the price difference, the silver plus 1 is definitely a good stopover until you come back with a little more money. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't come back just because of how out of the way the shop is, but it's a very good item.
Right, and I think that at the end game, maybe you consider coming back to pick them up. If you haven't found your Opal, the Red Mage is going to have kind of an interesting problem with survival. Limited armor availability overall, and then having no bracelets is pretty punishing.
Yeah, he's basically hoping to find a ribbon. Because otherwise that Red Mage is just... It's going to take a lot of dirt naps.
And the ribbon doesn't really help you with the absorb problem, which is what I'm...
Yeah, not the absorb for sure, but he can't equip that much in the way of chest armor.
Yeah, I think the chain might be about as good as it gets for the Red Mage, this particular seed.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that he can't equip the bracelets, but you know, the one seed where you find all the bracelets, he can't equip it, so that's unfortunate. But what are you gonna do?
Narek giving us the cube, so nothing yet for escaping the
I think
the
that
inner sea.
guarantees Marsher Ice,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So it's got to be a Marsh play, though. Yeah. Runner's absolutely trying to avoid ice at all costs, and it makes sense. Ice is a very dangerous place without lots of sweepers. Over on...
Nicolouch one.
Go ahead.
Nicolouch one asking about the Blursings this seed. I didn't catch all of the Blursings, unfortunately. What I did see for sure is we didn't have any spellcasting ones, so that sort of eliminates that whole angle. But the black belt had plus 80 starting hit points, and I know the red mage had no bracelets. But I think most of the rest of them were stat adjustment, you know, agility, luck, that sort of thing.
Mhm. What I was gonna say was on Demon's side, or not Demon's side, Ganon's side, it looks like he's already knocked his thief down, though.
Yep.
Look like he has any intention to pick it up.
I can't imagine he does. He wants to focus that experience where he can get fade charges and levels on that black belt to get that thing rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner they do that, the faster they can, you know, safely go to these more dangerous areas. Especially with even having a single gold bracelet. If you're looking to take a grind, you know, you're gonna slap that on your black belt and go to town.
So one of the challenges that I see for Ganon's here is, you know, with that thief knockdown, Marsh is just a little bit more dangerous. You have really poor run chances out of your remaining light warriors, and a lot of the time, you know, it's just better to run from these encounters. Ooh, and we get the adamant out of Marsh Attic, along with the Katana -3, Never Lucky Thief, and just gonna warp right on out of there.
Absolutely. Gonna make the trek all the way back to Dwarfs after having just turned in the TNT. It always feels kind of bitter, you know, having to backtrack again, but, you know, it's definitely better to turn in your fetch quests almost immediately rather than holding on to them and just waiting to get all of it together.
And the slab, this is now ice required.
Yes, so ice has to have either the canal or the floater.
It has to be the canal. The canal
Or the
is,
crystal.
or the crystal, right? Or crown, I guess.
Yes. So there are still a couple options, but it inevitably is going to lead to the canal.
Demon giving us our, I think, first check of the Northwest Castle spike tiles, as well as whatever's in these chests. Oh, black shirt +1. That's going to be excellent sweeper capacity. And slimes. We don't really have the tools for these right now, but this could potentially be something to get off the ground. And wizards, not really a thing you're looking for, but I mean, they're here.
Yeah, that black shirt's a very much enjoyed item to be found at this point, with only Fade as your AoE casting, being able to put that on.
The wizards have Frost, which is going to be a real interesting time in Ice.
Yeah. Ice and even Ordeals. I believe you can run into Wizard in Ordeals. It's going to be very not fun. But looks like he's headed to Elfwood?
This might be a stock-up run before heading over towards Ice.
Maybe pick up those pro rings that are in the shop.
And just get spell charges back too. Because at this point, Demon has the levels for Fade. At least one charge for each the red and the white. It might make sense to pick up a few levels outside of Crescent. You've got a couple of different encounter zones right in that area. So you can check off the hard reset, see if you can get some peds or something like that. Where you can just get a few more levels, get a few more Fade charges and hit points under your belt, and maybe survive better. But no, going straight up.
I wonder if he's going to go to Volcano or to straight to Ice. I don't think, was it Demon that went to Volcano in the first place? Because I don't remember seeing anything in Volcano.
I think it was Ganon's that had made the initial check in Volcano, and that looked like it was just a spike tile check. Ganon's just retreading some of the territory that we've already seen out of DemonRHK. While we've got Demon rowing his way over, I just want to shout out real quick. If you're interested in Final Fantasy Randomizer, you haven't started up yet, this is the perfect time. Head over to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, join the Discord. We have, starting literally this week, the Duckling Boot Camp, which is our new player orientation program. I am a recent graduate. I was in the winter Duckling Derby. So I've only been around for about 6 months, but it's a fantastic program. Goes over the basics. We have a reveal every week. I think they're happening Monday nights this time around, and it's an excellent program to get your feet wet and get into the randomizer.
Yeah, I mean, take it from me. I literally started about a week ago, and I came in, had a bunch of questions, and I think it took less than 5 minutes for someone to respond and help me figure everything out that I needed. And I mean, the community is just great. I've had more fun in the last week just getting to know everyone and playing than in some of the other communities I've joined. So it's definitely, if you're looking for something fun to do, you played the game when you were a kid, or you just like watching the streams, definitely come in, take a look. Who knows? You might find out that you really enjoy racing.
So Ganon's going back and taking on those slimes for those early levels, and I really like this play. That 6-pack is just going to catapult the levels. You already see all 3 of his standing light warriors just went up from 7 to 10. And this is going to be an excellent way to ramp up.
Yeah, taking out his thief early was really good, and then just the fact that he's getting these levels now means that when he's forced to go to Ice, he will have a much easier time than what Demon is doing.
Demon doesn't seem to be struggling so far from what I've seen, though, so that's good. Looked like Demon's party was 9 across the board, or 8 across the board, which is not bad.
Yeah, definitely a reasonable level. I know there have been many times where people have come into Ice at like 4 to 6, and it feels so rough. But at least at 8, you have some levels. You got the HP to live, a couple rounds if something ambushes you. It won't feel good, but you can do it.
There's our canal. So the question here, with 3 warp charges left, does Demon walk this out or does he warp out? He's really thinking about it.
You can warp out of Ice with 3 charges right here.
Yeah, you have to backtrack at least 1 floor, and this is the floor to do it, really.
Well, no, it's not even that, because you would do it on this floor.
Right, but with 3 charges, having to go up to the vanilla floater floor, and then you walk that back to the tiny floor, and then 2 more warps to get out.
I forgot about the second floor. But yeah, definitely the right call to just warp out ASAP. You got a monk in the party, you don't really need to check any chests. Even if you wanted to use the ninja, you have the Vorpal, so don't really need any more in the way of gear at this point. Just get the key items and leave.
Demon hitting a little bit of adversity on his way out on the river system. Not to... the river system is never to be trifled with. You got to respect it on your way out. And I see the... I see the concern that happens there.
Yeah, people always say ice is the hard part, but it's coming back from ice that I feel is the hardest, because you just went through the dungeon, you've used up a lot of resources, you probably have 1, maybe 2 charges left of your spells, and you're just like, cool, now I have to backtrack all the way to either Crescent or Elfland.
Let me consider bringing up the amount of chests that are still left in ice. And, that's certainly a concern. With that many chests, 11 out of 241 it's a pretty big chunk. And the likelihood of something good being in there is pretty high. But, the counterpoint, and I think that this is where Demon's head was on the matter, and there's our bridge. Demon probably thinking it's hard to get out with that many walking tiles left. If you come across a bad ambush or something like that, and having to retread that ground is painful.
Well, that and, there are a lot of, loose items, but none of them are key items. We know the canal was the incentivized item in there. So, opening a chest at this point, what would Demon be looking for? He knows where the gold bracelets are. He knows where pro rings are. The best thing he would find is a ribbon. But he definitely still has a lot of checks to make in other dungeons. So I completely agree with just leaving ice and taking it safe.
And I think that's a tactical decision that, it's one of those challenging things that you have to decide on the fly. And I'm a never ice person. I like to get out of there as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Looking over again and still hanging out with those slimes. Up to 18. That's
it's really
getting close to that.
Whether it's curious whether he's going to take this all the way to probably 20-ish for his mages, and then I wonder if he's going to take out his mages to finish off the grind on the black belt.
That black belt isn't punching hard enough against these to even consider that yet. But getting to the black belt to 21 is by itself, a big milestone. That's a point where you can start actually, punching down fiends as you come across them. You might see a proximity carry kill when he goes over to take care of ice.
Speaking of carry, Demon over in Volcano did find a mage staff, which is a pretty solid item. They do have fade now, they have some charges for it, but fire is always a useful spell, especially when you still have places like ordeals to go. A lot of enemies weak to fire in there. Very solid, just overall casting item.
Funny enough, that mage stick would actually be pretty good specifically for those slimes, because while the black belt's not going to be able to punch those slimes down at this point, the mage stick might be able to handle it. We are seeing a stock up run out of Ganon's here.
Yeah, it looks like he had bought a bunch of houses previously and then used them all up doing that grind. And it looks like he's pretty satisfied with it.
It looks like it's time to head over to ice now.
Yeah, Ganon might check more chests than Demon did. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, but he definitely has the levels, the health to go ahead and just check extra chests without fear of, wiping to bad luck.
I'm gonna guess that Ganon skips as many chests as possible. I think the position you're in when you've gotten your early grind in, you're to a comfortable point. You don't really want to spend time dealing with these encounters. And the black belt, once the black belt's high enough, it's practically wearing a ribbon anyway.
Sure.
I think it's more viable for Ganons to make that check, but at the same time, there's a degree to which you don't know what your opponent could have found while you've been doing that grind. And those slimes are good. They're an excellent way to get yourself off the ground. But what if your opponent found a better spike tile? What if your opponent found the floater and has been just hoovering up all of the incentive items and getting that exploration lead and finding something as a result? So lots of questions there.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, then my question to you then is, with him doing ice now, because we know it's required, do you think he's going to take a pit stop in Volcano on the way back and just take care of Carrie while he's here?
I think it's very likely. And while we've been talking about that, here we see Demon setting up to go hang out with those slimes.
Yep, they are just following each other's tracks. Demon definitely going to have an easier time with it with that mage staff. But he does have all 4 of his party members up, so it's definitely going to take him some extra fights to get to where Ganon is.
Ooh, so the mage stick is not bad, right? It can do pretty solid damage against these slimes. But what I just saw is that the mage stick is going to take at least 2 rounds. Slimes hit hard, and we're sitting in a position. It looks like Demon is setting up to kill off all 3 of the other light warriors, which is potentially good. But that's not slinging out fade charges to get the earlies. This is aggressively looking to take out these party members.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a gamble. I don't know if maybe he looked at the time and saw how long it took him to get out of ice and was like, oh, did my opponent go to ice earlier and has the canal already? Do I need to make a gamble to try to get my black belt higher faster? I'm really curious as to what's going through his mind right now when he does this.
Well, if the objective was to get the party down, we're halfway there. And at the very least, I hope the Demon walks out and saves the levels pretty soon, because it's real easy for, if a 6-pack ambushes you, and here we go, just walking out, hitting the house. But having a 6-pack come up and ambush you could really put a cramp in your style.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why he's keeping the red mage up, just to, help clear the pack for the early levels. Or maybe he is just looking for to get XP on both of them.
I'm kind of leaning towards having a meat shield. That's what it's kind of looking like. And admirable job out of that red mage to stand there and absorb punches on behalf of the black belt.
Yeah, I think he does have a gold bracelet, which is helpful for it. Yeah, it looks like he's just gonna let him fall down. Maybe it was just get a couple extra fade casts off and a little extra XP. Little extra easy XP, I should say.
Lario Rex pointing out that while we've been talking about Demon getting on this grind, Ganon stopped in the Ice Armory, so went down to the 6-pack. I did see that there was a monster in a box down there. I did not see if there was any notable treasure out of those boxes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm glad my guess was right, and he did go check a couple extra chests, but it didn't look like he got anything too exciting. So, could have been worse. Could have been worse. But I'm guessing he's gonna leave the Inner Sea and first step Melmon, turn in the Ruby.
So that's a good question. It's a lot of steps to go turn in the Ruby and head over to Sarda. Looks like we're gonna get the check out those Toph chests.
Yeah, well, he does have the key too, so you can check the spike tiles as well. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's more interested in.
Zombie D is not a bad spike tile to sit on with just the black belt.
Yeah, they don't have too much HP. I don't recall their strength being that high either, so you know, unless they have a scary spell on their script, might be a very good place to get that black belt some extra levels.
Yeah, it looks Ganon's setting up to sit on this tile and get those mages down right away.
Yep. Now the question will become, what level is he willing to take this fight to? I don't think he'll take it to 42, just because I don't think the zombie dragons will give enough XP to make it worth the time investment. But maybe to the 30s.
I think he takes it all the way to 42. And here's my rationale on that. These didn't seem like they rolled up terribly high on hit points. 42 on the zombie D grind is absolutely quite long. But, you know, in the words of Burt Reynolds, don't go looking for the better grind that you never find, right? This tile's here. It's a serviceable grind. And, you know, once the black belt is 21, which right there, I think these zombie Ds are pretty close to 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the perks of this grind tile, too, is the fact that there's the door right there. So he basically doesn't have to worry about getting a different type of encounter. It's just up, down, zombie dragon. Which is very nice when you're looking for a spike tile grind.
Absolutely. And these zombie dragons, they pack a little bit of heat when they're punching, but the black belt's certainly getting the better end of this. And it's only going to get easier with every single fight.
Yeah, it's very nice. He's got the, you know, he's got a lot of HP for, I think that was his blessing, which is really nice.
Yep.
So it's definitely helping him a lot in just absorbing more hits. Because he would have probably 100, 150 less HP without that blessing. Make it a lot more risky to take this grind.
Well, the blessing was plus 80, which, I mean, it's a big deal at this level. It's always a bigger impact on the earlier end of the curve where you have very low hit points from your vitality, and you know this black belt is going to hit 999 probably in the mid 30s.
Yeah. Solar pointing out, it's very true. He might just go till he runs out of pots. I know, a wipe there. That's unfortunate, but he had just saved, so you know, at least had the force to save some of his XP.
I can't say I'm surprised if you don't one hit right off the bat against a 2 zombie D fight, they're a little dangerous.
Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, I take when I do my spectile grinds, I will generally just take it until I run out of pots, and then move on. You know, there are plenty of places to gain levels. You know, Sea Shrine, walking around in Sky. But if I have a bunch of pots and I'm doing a spike tile grind, I'll just go till I use them all.
Right.
Because they definitely go by faster than you think. Good turn order. Didn't wipe. It's always nice.
Demon continuing to just live on these slimes. And
Yep.
last I saw at 22.
I believe so, yeah. They're 23 now, yeah. Yeah, they are pretty even on levels. I think Ganon's 1 or 2 levels up at this point. But it's going well. As I say that, Demon decides to leave. I wonder if he's out of consumables.
It could very well be. The other thought is Mage Stick on a pack of slimes is really slow. Especially when it's taking 2 or 3 uses. And just spellcasting on groups is slow, right? The zombie Ds are so much better just because it's 2 hits and done.
The level's definitely helping Ganon now. No longer, rolling low and having to take 2 turns per zombie dragon at this point. Definitely speeds the fight up, makes it a lot less risky.
Demon heading on up. Gonna probably bring back most of his party here. I don't know if the thief gets back up. We'll see.
I don't even know if the mage gets picked back up. I think he just picks the black mage up for the warp. That way he can check waterfall.
Thief comes up, and the red comes up, and the white mage stays firmly swiffering the floor.
Yep. So it looks like he's wanting the extra run chance then. Which, not a bad idea. Waterfall has some pretty scary enemies in it.
That's true. And I think the red mage had a couple extra levels compared to the white mage, and therefore has more of the fade charges available. Obviously, the warp charge at level 1 to get out is very helpful.
Yeah, the red mage definitely higher level. I remember he took a couple fights, I think, with the slimes with just the monk and red mage up. Yeah, toxic.
Ganon's up to 32 on that black belt and continuing.
Yep, looks like you were right. He's gonna go all the way, which, definitely not a bad choice. He'll be completely set for the end game. He just has to find the key items and run.
And, I talk about this a lot. Once you get your black belt to 42 and the monsters start running from you instead of you having to run from them, it's just so much easier to get through, especially when you're looking at Earth or Volcano, the lower end dungeons where suddenly you're not having to deal with the resource drain and taking the damage and removing conditions and all of that. So I like it. There's a saying that the early grind is superior generally. He who grinds first wins first. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Still a lot of the seed ahead of us here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ganon hasn't even left the Inner Sea, so lots of fun stuff that could still be hiding around.
Quick walk out to save those levels and right back to it.
Yeah.
There might be a degree of it's just cheaper to use the house than to. I don't know if Ganon's has any heal pots left, but just use the house, get the full hit points. You save so you don't lose any progress.
Yeah, I'm not sure about cheaper, but it's definitely faster just using the house.
Time is money.
Time is money.
And with these fights, how long that Ganon's been going on with these zombie Ds, money is immaterial. It's all about the time that it would take to go get the heal pots and then to menu them.
Right. Meanwhile, on Demon's side, he picked up a crystal out of Waterfall, so another turn in that he'll do probably after getting done with Seed Shrine.
Demon going over to Underhill, the desert vendor. Yep. Just gonna make sure that he can stock up on supplies that he's otherwise missing.
Okay, I was gonna say I wasn't sure why. We definitely saw the vendor right already, but
Well, I think the issue was that when he stopped in Onrak, there were just piers and cabins. So
okay, yeah, I missed that. Yeah, you definitely want to have heal pots going into C. I feel like 9 times out of 10, some enemy in C has, you know, thunder, damage, poison, etc. And you just, without heal pots, you feel real bad going through it.
Yep. Demon bringing up the rest of his light warriors for this upcoming C dive. And Ganons has decided that he is done. Back to the boat.
Yeah, I didn't see what level he got to, but he, with how much of the game is still left, I also understand not going all the way to 42, because you definitely still have monsters that you're gonna fight. You know, just naturally as you walk through the rest of the game. The bosses give plenty of XP too. So if he only went to 40 or so, I could see that.
Yep, and Hotfoot confirming 40 in the chat here. As we got a little bit of menu time, we got to see it as well.
Yep. So, interesting to note, neither runner has checked the Ruby turn-in yet.
I'm not super surprised by that. I mean, Ganon's we'll see, because Ganon's just, you know, first time leaving the Inner Sea right now.
Right.
But, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's a walk. It is a... Yeah. And Ganon's going straight forward, it looks like. So, you know, if this turns out to be the floater, that is quite a big deal.
Yeah, it will save him a lot of time. Something else to note is, while he's at Melmond, he does have the slab, so if he wants to translate it while he's here, he can. Whether or not he'll do it, who knows. Don't really need to get it translated till you have the airship anyway, since you can't turn it in, but...
One of the things that I recently learned, and, you know, always learn when you're playing, right? Learn a lesson every seed. I learned that if you translate the slab, it disappears from your inventory, and then it goes into the memory hole, and you forget all about it. We get the tail, and we get a reset out.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever coming back for that. Maybe if he finds the floater, like, immediately.
Demon picking up the crown, by the way, in Sharknado.
That is a terrible room to find it in, but at least it's better than Mermaid Side.
Yep. We weren't going to get the dreaded TFC lockout, so at least we've got that going for us.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was also one of the first rooms on Sharknado floor, so, you know.
Oh, okay, then yeah. Not so bad. It wasn't the chest that is blocked by it. But yeah, I don't think we'll see that tail on Ganon's side again unless he finds the floater immediately. He did already finish his grind, so, you know. Promoting, not awful. Give him more spells to work with his Red Mage, but not something I'm guessing we're going to see.
I agree with that. And here we see Ganon's headed into Ordeal, so we'll get our first peek at the incentive there. Ordeals with Warp is always an interesting experience, because you start realizing that, you know, maybe I can just, you know, brute force my way through that much faster. But then you have to remember every pillar along the way.
Yeah, having warp in Ordeals is nice, but it also does some funny things to your brain. I was running a seed and I was just like focused on my future game plan. I wasn't thinking about, you know, what I was doing. So I get to the chests and I start checking them, find the key item, and I'm like, all right, great, I can warp out. And I warp myself back into the teleporter maze. And I'm like, oh, wait, I have to go through this again. Crap, I don't remember anything. Oh no. But we're about to get cracking on Demon's side, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Getting the little equipment shimmy going on. Four hits 58 damage before the fast goes out. That's not an encouraging sign.
That is very not fun.
And down goes Thief.
No
No surprise that, yeah, Kraken knows how to punch.
Yup. Fade putting in work though. Even though White Mage is now taking a nap, I think I saw about 400 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Kraken only has what 600 HP. Is it 6 or 700?
Well, we're gonna see if turn order matters. Oh, 23 hit points, and the red mage takes it.
Very close fight.
While Demon was doing that, Ganon's through ordeals. Looks like he picked up the rod for his troubles.
So ordeals is also required. Yeah, it's never a fun seed when you have to go through every optional dungeon. You're always hoping one or two of them you can skip, but no luck in this seed.
My personal favorite is when you don't have to go check Lefane. Outside of ice, never ice. Hashtag. Lemon Kitsune coming in with the hot knowledge, dropping the hit point totals for each of the vanilla bosses. Thank you for that. Chat keeps us honest, right along with our fabulous tracker, Lord of the Synth. It looks like Demon is not going to check out ordeals right now, just based on ship direction. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, as commentators, we know that ordeals is required, but he did find the adamant, or the crown. So, he's probably looking to turn that in, see if he can hopefully get a floater, without having to go through an entire teleporter maze.
So, the crown and the crystal are both up for tournaments. That's great.
Crystal, yeah.
But, you think about getting to ordeals, it's actually longer with the airship in some regards. You were already right there. So I'm curious on that. And Astos has the floater. So here we go.
Yeah, it looks like it's working out. I mean, yeah, I think it's just player preference. I definitely probably would have done the same thing as Demon, come turn my fetch quest in. If only just because he still needs, the rod, he still needs the chime. I guess that's all he really needed. But, the more items he has, the less dungeon he has to traverse. He can go mode more places, which is always a great thing.
That's a fair point. And at this point, just needing the rod and the chime, I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah. I mean, they will get the good news that they don't have to check anything in Sky, since we know the rod is in ordeals.
That's true.
In fact, we could probably figure out where we know the tail is at the ruby turn-in, so the crystal has to turn into the bottle, I believe.
Nope, there's our chime.
All right, because the chime, and then you get the bottle, which turns into the Nothing?
So
Oh,
we still have outstanding our 2 dud items,
yes.
the
the
white
power
shirt
gauntlet.
and the power gauntlet.
Yes, I'd
Um,
forgotten those.
So with this, we are now sitting in floaterless go mode for Ganon's Gone Wild.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know what I can say beyond that. That's a scary thought. 54 minutes in roughly, walking up to Sky with a 40 plus black belt, just go moding dungeons.
Yeah.
We're gonna go pretty quick from here.
Yeah, it's interesting to know whether he'll check any chests. He doesn't need to. But, if he finds the floater in here or the ribbon, he would be pretty happy with that. Demon, on the other hand, is translating his slab, which leads to the problem of wanting to go mode dungeons to the point where you're turning in all of your fetch quests only to find out you're going to have to go to ordeals anyway.
Yeah, and I have the suspicion that the slab turn-in is going to turn into the bottle, and the bottle is going to be the white shirt or the bonk, the power gauntlet.
Yeah, because one of them is in Sky here, and then the other one will be behind the bottle more than likely.
Crown was in C on the Sharknado floor, Lord of the Synth. So, I don't think Ganon's is going to be finding that anytime soon. I think there are no more chests in Ganon's future. There's just no need, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he probably doesn't need to check anything else. Like, the power bunk would also be very nice for that monk, but with Saber and Fast, it's probably good enough. For the Topher.
Fast and Lock are really the big workhorses here, unless the Absorb just is really, really high on one of the bosses. There's our white shirt out of Lefane.
And
I'm just going to reset right out.
No surprises.
Ganon's on the charge. Going for the greed checks. I can respect that.
Yep. I'm a big proponent of the vampire chest check. I will check it no matter what, just because it's right there.
I'm a lot of the time the same way with the Asher Trunk, which is the chest due north of the vampire, the North on Earth 3.
Yeah.
Asher Trunk always pays out. Sometimes it pays out a tent. Sometimes it pays out a masa,
I mean, would you even really care about Masa at this point, though?
No. No, absolutely not.
Like, maybe you could slap it on the Red Mage? Maybe, but...
We get the robot chicken. Oh, baby.
Now let's see if it has anything, scary.
Nuclear. Oh. That's a nuclear out of the pool for Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah. I'm sure he's not happy to see it here, but he is happy to see it here at the same time.
I would be ecstatic to see it here. I don't want to see that in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. And down goes Robot Chicken, getting a nice spread of levels across the party, bringing that black belt up to 41.
Yep, he has all 4 of the bosses still left too, so it's almost guaranteed that that black belt's going to hit 42 before Chaos. Yeah, looking at that XP level, only 65,000 more, he'll hit that in no time.
So here we go to Tia 1. Ink comes out first turn, free turn. Black belt paunches before the fast for over 1,000. So this is not long for this world, Tia. 15 hits, 1092. Down goes Tia 1. There's our air orb.
Yeah, Tia, without any scary scripts, honestly, I've never had a problem with it. Never seems to hit as hard as Kraken and Carry.
Just thinking through the logic of the seed here. Sky is going to contain the bottle, and that bottle is going to lead to the power gauntlet.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Demon goes searching through the chests. There's 51 chests, 52 chests, something like that in Sky, plus Mirage. That is a lot of chests to check. That is a lot of time per chest.
I think at this point it's almost guaranteed that he's gonna go check it because he hasn't been to ordeals. So he doesn't know that the rod is in there. So he's still searching for that.
Seems likely, and I, again, cannot imagine a world in which Ganons finds the crown to go pick up the floater, and I don't think that Ganons cares at this point. You know, it's floaterless go mode is just fine as we cross the hour mark. Whereas we see Demon doing some stake and wings things, getting the black belt up to 27 at this point.
Yeah, he definitely has some grinding to catch up on, but Tyros are pretty decent at it. Definitely looking to get that red mage down though if he can.
Cheese asking about the blessing on the black belt. It was the plus 80 hit points. So that's a lovely boost at the beginning. So you can actually get that black belt to level up.
Yeah.
That is 2 more chests checked out of Ganons than I expected in this dungeon.
I mean, I'm not super surprised. They're right there. Well, he is checking Sharknado.
5. Okay, that's all he's checking. That makes sense. I think the logic is if I can get one of these super fast checks and find the floater, then great. Otherwise, you know, who knows? Maybe he picks up a ribbon. Instead he gets an iron gauntlet -1.
There are still a couple items that he would be interested in finding. Maybe not items that are super worth the risk of checking the chest, but you know, he's already 41 with his black belt. For the most part, if a monster in the box popped up, he wouldn't have too many problems.
Yeah. And you know, as we have been at this for an hour, I should just reintroduce both of us. I am Saracen, joined by Snow in the booth here. We have Lord of the Synth doing our restream and tracking, and this is Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament, Ganon's Gone Wild versus DemonRHK.
Yeah, and while they're just, you know, running through killing bosses and grinding Tyros, to mention, you know, for any newcomers, feel free to come and enjoy the Discord. You know, if you've ever had an interest in playing Randomizer, or you played the vanilla game growing up and you think the Randomizer looks interesting, you know, there's a large new community that's really welcoming. We just started the Duckling program this week, and it's perfect for new players. A lot of, you know, seniors that are willing to, you know, sit down and explain different game mechanics to you. Overall, just a really good program if you're interested.
Yeah, I absolutely stand by everything you just said there. I like to think that we're one of the most welcoming communities in the Randomizer world. I've had a great time in the 6-ish months that I've been part of the community. You've been in for a week or so, and it's been good to you too. You know, we're a very welcoming bunch. So Kraken 1 is down. We are 2 orbs lit on Ganon's side. Demon's still working on the Stake and Wings, but I believe has the Red Mage down.
Yes, I believe I saw him fall. Yeah. So we're looking at it, and Ganon's Gone Wild definitely has a little bit of a lead since he's already finished his grind. My question is, how much more time is Demon going to save just having the airship?
My initial inclination is not enough. I hate to say that. So the Topher can Topher, right? A 42 black belt is not immune to the wiles of the Temple of Fiends Revisited. But, at this point, still not being in go mode, missing the rod, which, we on the outside know that that's in ordeals. I think Demon is going to finish up the grind here and then check a lot of chests in Sky until the disappointing news comes out that that's not it.
Yeah, for Demon's sake, we're gonna have to hope he has a couple ribbons in there, and then Topher is just full of nasty spells. Because that could definitely help him.
Yeah, and at this point, we see Ganon's just making the charge through Volcano. In this situation, Volcano is typically, like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
as you're running over the lava tiles to avoid encounters because the lava doesn't advance the encounter table. We see Bane coming out of the R-Giants, taking Ganon's down to just the black belt.
Does the black belt have a... He doesn't have...
The black belt's just on MDef.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, that is still very scary. But, with enough levels, the black belt's just probably gonna one-shot carry. I wouldn't expect to see more than 2 rounds out of her. Yeah.
There's the punch and tournament, so... Now here's the real question. So, Ganon's doesn't have any of his other party members up, but he doesn't really need them to take out Lich, theoretically. Right. It does look like he's making the trip down to Crescent to revive. That's what I was wondering. Is, if you're headed straight to Melmond, you don't have a place to revive those light warriors, so... Going with the safe strats. Pick people up off the floor. And a restock. Okay. Picking up Ruse for the White Mage.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an interesting decision to pick up Ruse. I guess worst case scenario, slap a couple ruses on yourself and, whittle away chaos slowly but surely.
Well, and the challenge there is, what are you going to whittle away chaos with on that White Mage, right?
White Mage Punch.
I guess if you pick up the power bonk on the way there, right?
No,
Go ahead.
The only thought that I could have for picking up Ruse at this point is maybe to use it as a shield. Throw her in the first slot and the black belt in the 4th slot, and then just hope that more attacks get thrown her way.
Maybe. Ganon's looking like he might have forgotten that he hasn't finished Earth yet. Yep. We're about to see the Orb Bonk. The legendary.
Let's go, Orb Bonk.
and the walk of shame back to the ship.
Yep. It happens to everyone.
It does. I've done it. It's so easy to get caught up in go mode and
So
forget one orb.
at least he's not making the same orb bunk I did, because Earth Crystal is not the top left in your menu. So when you open your start menu, the top left orb is not Earth. And I walked up, bonked on it, checked my thing, and was like, oh, I need to go do Earth. Went through, cleared it, and I'm like, didn't I do this already? Yes. Turns out the top left is Volcano.
Demon has done his run through Volcano now. Decided to take care of that after bringing up his other light warriors. So we'll see. We'll see how this charge goes, because I think there's a lot of chests in the way.
Yes. Hopefully he'll find the key item early and just be able to leave. Either way, it's unfortunate, but we're hoping he finds it on this floor so he doesn't check all of Sky.
And we're 2 for 2 with boxes containing monsters first. Monster in a boxes cannot contain the incentive item. 3 for 3. Wow. So every one of these monster in a boxes is not what he's looking for. What is this luck?
A scenario.
Okay,
So-
we finally found something without a monster in it.
So you bring up an interesting point. Monster in a boxes cannot contain incentive items. That is very true. However, they can contain the white shirt or the power bunk, because they are not key items.
Okay, so Demon, either reading the telepathy or has come to the realization that, man, that's a lot of boxes, and
Yeah.
is now headed over to Ordeals. So
Yeah.
this is really good for Demon.
It might be a little bit of everything. Maybe he forgot he hadn't done ordeals yet. Or just the fact that ordeals has so many less checks than Sky.
I have to think that it's the check count if he hadn't memory hold the location. He certainly walked out of Onrak with a lot of stuff to do.
Yes.
And so, I could see that being a challenge.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's a lich.
I've been waiting to say, oh, goodbye, Lich, but the black belt decided to act last. Typical.
I was really hoping that the mages were going to take care of it, but that was a low roll fade out of the white mage.
Yeah. It's always unfortunate when you see that. But, yeah. I almost think that Ganon being in floaterless go mode is almost better than having the floater. Just because, as we saw, Demon got the floater and then did a bunch of extra checks, like the slab turn in. It's almost certain that if he finds the bottle, he would turn that in before checking other things. And, it may not seem like a lot, but that time adds up.
Absolutely. And at the 1 hour, 12 minute, and 28 second mark, Ganon's Gone Wild is our first person to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited on the charge with a 42 plus black belt. Unless there's something real nasty here, I'm thinking 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, I mean, just punch for the first two fiends. Fast for Tia and Kraken, and then Chaos just dump every other spell that you have. I don't expect too much strategy beyond that.
So having to reset there, bad men are very dangerous in groups. They tend to do a lot of damage, and I don't think that Ganon's had healed up between encounters there. and I think there was a couple of packs of them right in a row.
Yeah,
So,
that combined with the fact that they have Fire too, without any ribbons, his party was very likely to die in that fight. And as good as a 42 black belt is, since he doesn't have the power bunk, uh, if one of the fiends has a high absorb, he needs to have his rib mage to be able to cast lock, fast, temper, etc.
you know, the follow on to that is no defense sword either, to my knowledge. And so your black belt, while, you know, very tanky, Blaze out of the Frosties. But this black belt, very tanky generally, but that's still 2 punches out of a high roll chaos, or, you know, potentially a high roll Kraken 2 might be able to do it in 1. So
yeah, it's not just no defense either. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing him reset out of a white shirt, unless that was the slab turn in.
I think
But
that was the slab turn in on Demon's side.
yeah, either way, he doesn't have either one of the invis. He doesn't have invis. He doesn't have ruse. Definitely makes it a lot harder to solo a fiend.
Demon continuing the charge through Sky, not having to check those boxes for making the, you know, what we knew in the commentary booth to be the right choice. But on his way through the maze floor, it's not much of a maze.
Taking the wrong path.
I don't think that's the wrong path, because it's also the path I use.
What I'm hearing is you also take the wrong path. No, for those watching, the maze room, you just go horizontal twice and vertical twice, and you're going to hit the exit, no matter which direction you choose.
Unless, did you know, Snow, that we have a flag that adds walls on the maze floor?
I did not. I do know that there was a flag. I don't know if it's still a thing, but once upon a time there was a flag that randomized which spot it was at.
So, I don't want to spend too much time on this while Ganon's is punching down Carry. Oh, Carry 2's gone. We can go back to this. So, I don't know about moving the location of the teleporter. Thankfully, the teleporters do tell you whether they're up or down. They are arrows that point where they are going. But it's not often used. But there is a flag that puts up walls and turns it into a real maze. It's a bit small, and therefore the options are not that significant. However, you know, that is an option.
Yeah, that would definitely be a interesting flag set to run. But Ganon about to start the, in my opinion, scariest fight of the entire game. Kraken 2.
Frequently the true gatekeeper of your Temple of Fiends Revisited run.
Lightning 2, not too bad to start. And he's dead.
Paunch.
Yeah, really, when you have a 42 black belt, all you're hoping for is no physical attack round 1. Cast a spell, something. Demon traversing through Earth. Gonna come up on Vampire about the time that Ganon starts Tia.
So Tia 2 is another fight that I am a little leery of. I've had some bad experiences. And I know that, you know, past seeds are not the ones that we are looking at right now, but sometimes Tia rolls a little wacky. Nothing too bad with a Lit 2 starting off from Tia, but I think that this is where we see our multi-headed dragon friend go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big punch on the white mage.
Alright, well, we didn't see anything too scary on Kraken or Tia, so now we're hoping we see all of the scary spells on Chaos.
So if I'm not mistaken, both of the nuclears are out of the pool, because I think I saw one of them on carry 2, maybe.
I wasn't. I'm not sure. I was looking away for carry 2, but we definitely know at least one is because it was on Warpack.
Yep. 118.48, and we see our first pull of Chaos as Demon making his way to Lich 1 for that final orb.
Interesting to note, casting while on the Red Mage to keep it alive, since it does not have the HP, but it does have the other buffing spells for the Monk. Or Black Belt, sorry.
Big
Oh.
nuke.
Speaking
Taking out
of-
both the Thief and the White Mage. But that was that 8 hits for a little over 1,000?
Yes, sir. And, oh, well,
GG's, Ganon's gone wild.
gee.
That is a good one. We're going to see if Ganons wants to join us in the booth here for an interview. Demon starting the Temple of Fiends Revisited run.
Yeah, he had to deal with the Bat Boss of not letting him touch the orb.
A little bit of keep away.
Yep. I always forget that those bats are not NPC guillotine material. But we're joined by Ganon's Gone Wild. GG to you, sir. How do you feel?
Not the cleanest gameplay, but I think I made the correct, bigger decisions. So, I guess that's what counts.
So GG's, it was a great run to watch. And one thing that really stuck out, I think, from both of us here, is you took a very early grind on those slimes. And while you were on the slimes, Demon was working on Ice Cave, getting the ship and all of that, or was it the canal that was down there? And so, how was your thought process on that slime grind, and what were you thinking as far as your end point on that?
Basically, I already had Fade, I had a couple casts, so I had enough money to go get a few houses, and I'm just thinking you actually already had a lot of incentive items from just the inner sea already, so you're getting decent experience already, and I don't really want to go into ice at level 9, and I don't really want to res the thief so that I can do ice at lower levels, so I'm just I'll just do a big grind because I'm gonna do a grind anyway, and this is pretty good. And I've got Fade, and they're going down in one turn every time. So I'll just take this to hopefully I can get to about 21, and then I can look for a solo grind.
Yeah, we definitely saw you get to the zombie dragons too. Little off. It looked like it was off to a rocky start at first, trying to get your mages to die, but from there it was pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah,
Go.
that tile is not the best, not the worst, but I'm kind of more on the if I find something that's good enough, I'm just gonna do it rather than gamble that there's something in Earth Cave and then there's nothing in Earth Cave, and then I gotta go all the way back, or just gamble that there's something in Ordeals. And so I don't know if Demon found a better grind somewhere, so that was kind of something I was a little worried about.
The Demon ended up taking the slimes after Ice Cave for quite a few levels, using just Mage Stick strats, and then did Stake and Wings, basically while you were on your charge through the orbs.
I see.
A Demon just taken out Carry 2 and onto the water floor in Temple of Fiends Revisited right now. So you had what was effectively the god routing for this seed. You lucked out of all of the long overworld checks. You didn't have to check anything that you didn't feel like in Sea Shrine. You didn't have to check anything at all in Mirage and Sky. How'd that feel?
Well, I knew like you had to do everything in Inner Sea, and then you're obviously gonna do the Ruby turn-in like before going south, and then Ordeals I'm always gonna do before going to Waterfall. So I didn't feel like that routing was like anything special, but yeah, like instead of going into sea, I decided to just save and then check what that item was because I was only one item from go mode. So I'm like, all right, well, if it is the chime, which isn't likely, then I'm just in go mode. And then I'm like, okay, it's the chime. We're just in go mode.
Yes, we saw the Ruby turn-in was the tail. I was curious, with that knowledge that Sarda had the tail, if you had found the airship, was there any chance you were going back for it?
No, I mean, there just wasn't really much worth promoting for in this one. Like, I guess I could have got, like, fast or something on the ninja, but I wasn't too interested in the tail.
But you had a Vorpal and a Katana. The ninja was scary, right?
Yeah, but I had already done a big grind, so 42 black belts should be enough to get me through, at least on these flags.
Demon with some adversity on his side. He just took out Kraken 2, lost his Thief to it, lost the White Mage earlier in the water floor, and then loses the Red Mage to a Pack of Waters on his way out. So walking up to Tia 2 with just the black belt. It looks like 43 on the black belt there. So
Yeah.
potentially doable.
Yeah, I mean, with damage rolls like that, definitely.
2 turns. Tia 2 down.
Yeah, I was a little worried about the Giants because they had Bane, so I wasn't sure if I was even going to get through the carry floor. Looks like that's not what ran in or hurt him either.
Yeah, the the Red Giants taking out all of your casters in Volcano was definitely a concern.
Oh,
Yeah, with no pro rings, we were like, huh, good thing the black belt didn't die. There's the nuke.
And we're seeing here the struggles of a relatively high evasion chaos, it looks like. No fast caster to help out. Fist with just 53 hit points left. I think that was 1 hit for 1 damage there just before Chaos punched him down.
Yep.
With that, it looks like DemonRHK has forfeit. Let's see if Demon wants to come in and join us. And there is DemonRHK joining us in the booth. GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, well played. Good game.
So, Demon, you played well, I think, throughout the majority of the seed. I think possibly the downfall really came with finding the floater. Ganons had gone through with a floaterless go mode, and not having to do checks like the slab turn in, I think may have helped and made it a big difference there. As you were going through the seed, what sort of concerns were you coming across when it came to finding your go mode? Because I know that there was there was a first floor Mirage check, and then you reset out of it after about 4 chests and went straight over to Ordeals. How did you feel through that?
Well, I was, after the trouble I had trying to get thinking I could get that metal slime grind off the ground, and it really just wasn't going. I was feeling behind the 8 ball, so I started just basically making a bunch of low percent plays, going on rack before Ordeals, and I just kind of mind hold Ordeals there at the end, and I was checking first floor Mirage, and I'm like, I just need to run from all these monsters in the boxes because all I'm looking for is the Wait, where was the power gauntlet? Oh, I didn't do Ordeals. And I figured with a 42 black belt Ordeals is a faster check with like 9 warp charges than actually trying to full clear sky.
I hear you on that. And the metal slime grind, funny enough, was actually how Ganon's had gotten off the ground as well. Leveraging those fade charges and doing it as a party grind. I saw you went for the Mage Stick strats, which really focuses that experience onto the black belt, but at the expense of time with how much hit points those had. What were your thoughts as far as finding your follow-up grind?
I wasn't super worried because I had stopped by Topher and checked the tile in there and I knew it was zombie dragons. But then, even with the giant hero run off the power cycle, there were 5 running plates of steak and wings off the power cycle in the desert. So, I mean, even with the long run off the power cycle, those 5 encounters were bam, 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 and that was just really what saved me on the end game grind.
Awesome. I think overall you both had a very smooth run through the inner sea and on. It's just figuring out that grind, figuring out the go mode was kind of the challenge here. Thoughts between the two of you? Any questions that you had for each other on the run?
I don't know. I was worried about what grind he was gonna get because I figured he'd find those slimes, and then I wasn't sure if those zombie Ds were good enough. But looks like he didn't check Topher, so yeah, I don't know. GG's.
Yeah, GG, good luck in this and all of your randomizer tournaments here.
Thanks, man.
Snow, did you have any questions for the runners?
No, I think you covered most of what I was thinking about. I think the only real question I had was regarding the volcano dive early, whether or not you... I didn't remember seeing you check a spike tile, and I was just curious if you just dipped in to check the one spike tile, or if it was both of them.
Is the question for me or for Demon?
I believe for you.
Okay. Yeah, I did check both of them.
You early volcano.
Yeah, I went in like super early just to check what the trap tiles were. I'm pretty sure I checked both of them. Like I checked one, I got blown up, and then checked the other one, and then I didn't check any of the monster, or I didn't check any of the chests in the armory. I just immediately left.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was just looking for a trap tile because when you have a really big run in the encounter table at the beginning, like it's hard to do an overworld grind. So that's why I was just trying to find a trap tile.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was super curious about. Other than that, just GG to both of you. You both did pretty well. Routing the early game did not look fun.
Yeah, I just want a free bridge, man.
The bridge was in the armory.
Oh, really? That would have saved some time.
Don't worry, you get a free bridge next week.
Wait, really? It's back?
It is back.
Oh.
Wrong spot.
All right, so Ganon's Gone Wild, GG. Looking forward to your next race against the winner of the Zenobian versus Dead Pulse race from earlier today. Not going to spoil that for our viewers who might be seeing this on YouTube at a later point, but looking forward to seeing how things go for you in the round of 16. Just going to do final thoughts here real quick, and then afterwards we're going to be jumping over hosting to Gregley Puff versus Gouda on Speed Gaming 2. So let's start with our winner, Ganon's Gone Wild. Final thoughts?
Yeah, GG's, and thanks for doing comms. Thanks for doing the restream. It's been a fun tournament, and looking forward to the next round. Yeah, I won't spoil things. So anyway, GG.
All right, Demon, final thoughts.
A level 21 black belt against Kraken 1 will give you cardiac arrest.
100% agreed. That was some clench there.
Red Mage MVP indeed.
All right, and Snow, final thoughts?
No, just both the runners did really good jobs. Really good to see them see their thought processes and see how they would make their decisions. It was really enlightening for someone as new as I am.
All right. Well, with that, we have come to the end of this race in the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. Thank you to our fabulous hosts here, Randomania. We're going to be raiding over to Speed Gaming 2 for Gregory Puff versus Gouda. Do want to shout out both of our runners, ganonsgonewild and DemonRHK. Give them a follow. The links have been put into the chat here. Also, thanks to Lord of the Synth for providing tracking and restreaming here. To my co-com Snow, if you have not yet joined the Discord, come into the community, please visit FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Click the link, join the Discord, come in, join the community. And if you're new to the Randomizer, come join our Duckling Bootcamp that's going on literally right now, started this week. Looking forward to all the new faces here. And with that, we'll see you next time.